Derek McInnes is off to a winning start as Hearts manager. Lauren Shankland was among the goals. This is Hearts Standard. This is Hearts Standard. I'm Craig Cairns. That is Joe Skid. We have just watched Hearts 4, Dunfermline 1 in the Premier Sports Cup Group E. 2 goals from Lauren Shankland, 1 from James Wilson and a late one from Stephen Kingsley rounded off the scoring. Joe, what were your thoughts on the game overall?
I'm just thinking, have I written 3-1 somewhere? Something in my head's like, I'm sure I've written 3-1 somewhere or say on something. Overall, I would go back to what Derek McInnes, if you've not read or listened to read his comments or listened to him, go back and reflect on them when he says he was really happy or pleased with the first 20-25 minutes and then pleased with the last 15 minutes, and that's probably accurate assessment. I thought after the first 25 minutes, I didn't think Hearts lost their way. Just there wasn't as much of the tempo or intensity. I thought the Hearts created opportunities and a few chances, but never really looked like stepping on the gas and making it 2-3-0 and really going for them. In that first 25 minutes, I was thinking Hearts could win. Yeah. Hearts could win handsomely here, and then Dunfermline scored a sloppy goal the second half. That's where I was a wee bit more worried about, with the direction or the lack of direction the team had. Kind of lost the way, didn't have any control in the middle of the pitch, and then it was a change of formation. Forrest, we'll come on to talk about, wins a penalty, back-to-back penalties, and then it's comfortable, and you're thinking how many Hearts are going to score. So yeah, it was a mixed bag, but one that was positive with the win. Clear indication that there's a lot of room for improvement, and it's not going to. It's a wee bit of a reality check as well, that there's still a lot to work on and there's still a lot to come. But the main thing was to win and get off to a good start, which we achieved.
Yeah, and comfortable enough in the end. I mean, I agree with you. There was parts in that second half where Dunfermline could have gone ahead if they would have won it, and as Derek McInnes said himself, he wasn't confident the Hearts were going to win the game, but he was kind of confident they weren't going to lose the game. That slightly contradicts what I'm saying there, but you get what I mean. Let's go back to the start of the game. The team selection. I suppose there was a couple of, it was sort of as expected, with a couple of surprises thrown in there. Wyson McEntee at right back wasn't a total surprise, given he played there in a friendly. McInnes explained that decision after the game. Was it slightly surprising that there was only 2 debuts from the start?
No.
Kiaridis might have if he hadn't taken a knock.
Kiaridis, yeah. I'm still curious to know how he's going to fit in, because if you listen to McInnes speaking about him, it's just that McInnes likes his wide men that are able to go down the outside, and to be, even if they are playing on the opposite side from where their strong foot is, there still has that opportunity to go down the right side. Kiaridis is more, he kind of comes in. It's almost like he kind of played what he asked Braga was spoke about playing, was that he's coming in and being almost like another number 10 rather than an actual winger. So yeah, I am surprised that he was on the bench. Borchgrevink, not overly, just because, like you said, McEntee that was played there in the East Kilbride friendly, and with McInnes, what he talked about afterwards, where he wanted a bit more, someone who's probably can press a bit more, or be a bit more intense, higher up the pitch. So no, I wasn't overly surprised by the lineup.
What about the centre of midfield? Sort of like double question here. It's like we kind of anticipated. I mean, McEntee going to right back changes that, but we kind of anticipated him alongside one other, possibly Benny. But it was the same midfield duo that played a lot of last season, or like 2 players that played a lot of last season. And I don't know, I felt Benny struggled to get into the game. He was kind of culpable for the goal that Hearts conceded. And I thought Nieuwenhof gave a bit more of a different dynamic in the midfield there when he came on in the second half.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Benny started well. There was a few moments where he was playing forward. There was really good passing. I think it was Shankland's feet or Braga's feet, and then there was a couple of times where he was playing longer and he was playing forward quicker. But then he did fall kind of in connection with them losing that ball for the goal. He fell out of it. Devlin, he got one of the man of the matches. I thought he had moments, but I do think it was another indication that there's still a lot to come from this team and transfers, because I can't see Benny and Cammy Devlin being the midfield 2 going forward, because while I think they've been the best midfield two over the last few seasons, I still don't think they are compatible in terms of what Derek McInnes wants to do. So yeah, I suppose there is a bit of a surprise that he didn't go for McEntee in there and work around it more at right back.
Pick up something you said there about Benny going a wee bit more direct. That was a theme of Hearts right from the start. They were going long when they weren't just for the sake of it. They were playing when they could play. But if there was an opportunity to get mostly Forrest down the side, they were taking that, whether it was via Shankland or whatever. There was one point when McInnes didn't have a go, but he instructed Halkett he should have gone with it longer. He played the pass out to McEntee. McEntee tried to play it and it was blocked, and McInnes said you should have done that quicker. And you saw Kent for the chance just before the goal. Hearts could have scored before they opened the scoring. You saw Kent went long. I think Shankland flicked out to Forrest, and that was coming to talk about Forrest now. Forrest played a key role in the game. More so, I was going to say more so in the first half, but I think he maybe took a wee bit just to get into the second half a bit more. But still, a key performance from Forrest.
Yeah,
it would have annoyed a few people just being in that starting lineup.
He did that. I kind of wrote that in the instant analysis that one of the selections that would have raised eyebrows was his starting role, and we've seen it in the build-up where people were talking about why was Forrest still starting. Even after the game, there was people critical of Forrest. I thought his performance was a mixed bag, but overall, I thought it was pretty positive. What he did was he was at the heart of a lot of our good moments. He won the penalty. Even when he was playing left wing back, he was helping the team get forward. But it always comes down to sometimes he plays with his head down too much, and sometimes he doesn't get his head up and he picks the wrong option. And there was one where he's tripped over the ball. So it's a give and take with Forrest. But I do think, by and large, he was positive. He was looking to get down the outside, what McInnes wanted him to do. He drew a foul that led to a booking because of his positive running. It was a really nice pass into Harry Milne, which set up a chance for Shankland. So I thought he showed why he could be part of the Hearts squad going forward. But I also think today showed not just Forrest but him part of the collective that why Hearts still need to improve the quality, the pace, and the width in the team.
Let's talk about James Wilson before we maybe talk about one of the negatives from today. There was a lot made of James Wilson in pre-season by Derek McInnes. He's somebody he is praised a number of times. He was the only player to start both halves in the first pre-season game against St Mirren, and he just seemed to follow on from there, doesn't he? He looks like more of an established first team player. His link play was very good, and he got his goal. I know it was slightly fortuitous, but part of being a striker is being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he was another one I kind of looked at and thought I was really impressed by him. Speaking to people on social media, that they kind of disagreed. They thought Cabangu was lively and livelier when he came off. I disagree with that, but I accept that maybe I didn't think Wilson's performance maybe wasn't as prolonged as I thought it was. In how his impact was, but I thought he was in that first 25 minutes McInnes talked about. I thought he was Hearts' lively and best player, and I think you're seeing a maturing player. He was picking up really good positions in the box. Movement was really good, and I thought he was getting more involved with the build-up play and moving it. So yeah, well, maybe I'm just being James Wilson pilled from the last few weeks and just been really impressed with him up close. That just like everything he does is great. But yeah, I think there was enough encouragement and promise to show that he's going to be a big part of this team going forward, providing he's not sold.
The main criticism from that first half, and maybe from the game overall, I would say, would be dominating the ball. It sounds suspiciously like last season. Dominating the ball. Yep. Not taking enough of the chances, maybe getting ahead, not taking enough chances, conceding from one of the few chances that you do concede, and then that completely puts a different complexion on that second half. And as we kind of said at the start of this video, there was points in that second half where if Dunfermline get a goal, Hearts are really in trouble.
Yes, there was at one point I was thinking, oh no, because I forgot about penalties. I was like, oh no, penalties. The last thing I want to do is to have a League Cup penalty shootout against Dunfermline again. But you're right, I thought we didn't do. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair on Hearts, but I didn't think he did enough to get back in the game. It was kind of helped. I'm not sure about the penalty decision, but it was certainly Dunfermline certainly helped Hearts get back into it. And yes, Hearts.
It was a bad pack pass as well from that penalty.
Yeah, and yes, Hearts forced Dunfermline into those mistakes, but it was almost like we were having to take advantage of a forced error than something that going to create ourselves. At the same time, I did think Hearts improved when he went back to the back three and had like the Forrest wing back Spittle in behind Shankland and Wilson, and it was I think it was kind of theme that McInnes talked about and maybe something that's going to be a key this season with the size of the squad is that the depth and people coming off the bench and making a positive impact.
Let's talk about Lawrence Shankland. There was lots made about his return. There was lots made before he returned. He put any kind of suspicions that he was going to have a sort of mental block at the start of the season like he did last season by scoring from the spot twice. But even if we talk about his performance besides the 2 goals, which kind of helped secure the win for Hearts, it was noticeable that he was the number 9 and the focal point of the attack, like McInnes had been alluding to. And as I kind of said, a lot of the balls that went direct, they were towards Shankland. And McInnes speaks about James Wilson still learning how to use his body. Shankland's very good at that. Maybe not the strongest in the air at winning flick-ons and things like that. I know he's a good header of the ball in front of goal, but it was good to see him the focal point of the attack again. Yeah, there were some brilliant first time touches round the corner just to late, and there was one to Forrest I think we spoke about during the game, the few bits of the game we could actually see because of the sun, but it was noticeable these flicks were coming in the final third rather than like so much of last season you looked up, but I still think he's capable of playing that number 10 role and dropping in. He's intelligent enough, but you do want him closer to goal, and I accept that, but there were so many times last season he would be in the centre circle doing that, and it felt like he was much closer to the opposition box doing that. The penalties, something will come out tomorrow night or Monday morning because Embargo talked about his penalties, but both very well taken and very confidently taken. I think importantly confidence as well was if he can get up and running and score in back-to-back games or in 3 of these 4 games in the League Cup group stage, I'm really confident going into the start of the season that he's going to have another 20 plus goal league season and then potentially another 30 goal season altogether. And even if not, if McInnes gets what he wants, and even if Shankland only scores 15 goals, say, or something like that, Hearts want to have more goals around the pitch. It's imperative. It's really important that we have that. Whether it's like Wilson, Kabangu, the hope is that if Shankland's able to score 15, 16, 17 goals at minimum, then there's another 2 or 3 guys who have scored double figures as well, potentially more, but we'll obviously see how that transpires. Yes, but it's important that we do, because it's I just think the more responsibility to take off Shankland, that it could free him up to actually score more goals. Could benefit. I'm going to talk myself into a 40 goal season here. Well, he was snatching at things last season. I mean, you just compare it to last season, nobody else was scoring. It got to the point where Shankland was just shooting from everywhere. There was one chance up at St Johnstone in particular that you thought last season he scores that, but he takes that extra second to think about it, and then the chance is kind of gone. So yes, I think it's definitely positive signs. Early days, but positive signs for Shankland. Let's kind of finish off by talking about the debutants. There were 3, if I'm not mistaken, 2 from the start and 1 from the bench. We're not counting Kabangu, that was a second debut. Let's go with the starters first. Oisin McEntee, a bit of a mixed bag, but he was just talking to you guys recently about getting a run in midfield and he's shunted to right back. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'd be short on him, and I'm not going to make. I would urge anyone not to make big judgments on him. I still think he is primed to be a bigger part in the midfield. So I don't think you can see him, he gets about, he puts himself about. Here we go, we'll be editing this in a second. I don't think you'll have. Yeah, put in a couple of nice crosses, but I don't think that's something that'll be long term as right back. And Braga again, there was a wee bit of a mixed bag. There was some nice touches, there was some nice link-up play with the likes of Wilson, but he didn't quite get into the intensity of the game.
No, he was. I thought he was. There was wee moments, and I do think that it was more to do with. It was like I don't think he was used to the physical side of it. I don't think he was. He just had to get used to the physical side of it. That was it, and even just like the awareness of how quickly players or opponents are going to be up his backside or trying to make a challenge. So it's that where I think he'll need to learn to. He knows how to do it, but just when and where to protect the ball a bit more and protect himself. But there was enough there to be encouraged by. A lot of energy, some really nice bits of movement coming inside, linking up the play, linked up with Forrest and set Forrest up for a chance. I do think he'll be more of a facilitator than a goal scorer, but I'm hoping he'll contribute both goals and assists.
And Borchgrevink came on as a Borchgrevink. I'm still trying to learn to say Borsch, and now I just can't get out of the habit of it. He wasn't on the pitch as long as the other two, so maybe don't have as much to say about him, but it was interesting the shape that they moved to when he came on. The back three, as you were talking about, and Milne went in at left-sided centre half, and Alan Forrest went to left wing back, which we've spoken about. McInnes liked to do. He did it with Fraser Murray last season. That was his latest inverted wing back.
I do think, speaking wider than Borchgrevink, I do think we'll see that this season where Hearts will go flip between systems. I think we've got enough versatile players that allow the team to do that, guys, and the depth in the squad to do that. And I do think that, for example, like Borchgrevink, he's not the quickest. That's probably one of his biggest issues is his pace. He can run all day, up and down all day. He's got a great cross, technically brilliant, wears great predators, but he's not he's not the quickest. So I do think if you're playing him, then the wing back role suits him a bit more because you've got a bit of coverage behind you. But yeah, I think that just shows the flexibility, the versatility, and I do think he'll add something certainly going forward with his crossing, his set piece ability, and just how comfortable he is in possession.
McInnes spoke about using the squad over the next week, so we might see him start one of the next couple of matches. Before we wrap up, Joe, was there any other business?
No, all I would say is that I think it was a solid start with a solid win, but I do think we see it there that there's still a lot to be done with this squad, both in terms of on the training pitch. Derek McInnes gets his message across, and also players coming and going.
Room for improvement, but they've won the game, so that's the important thing. On to, I have to think about where it is because they keep changing the venue, but on to Hamilton next, although it's not in Hamilton, it's in Cumbernauld. That is on Tuesday night. Please check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk. I'll link a few of the articles in the description. Give us a subscribe if you can. We're now aiming for 4,000, and we will see you all soon.